Okay, before we go into equations, I just want to talk a little bit about sign numbers to kind of review. When we're adding sign numbers, I always think of sign numbers as having two parts, a sign and a numeral. So the actual part that we count with, that's the numeral, that represents a number, usually a positive number, and this is the sign. Now this could be negative. So this is the sign and this is the numeral. So this would be negative 8. All right? So if we're going to add sign numbers, if the signs are the same, so you see the signs are the same, it can be written as negative 3 next to negative 2 and negative 2, that's what that means, or negative 3 plus negative 2, it's the same thing. If the signs are the same, you always take the sign of the larger. It doesn't matter if they're the same, it doesn't really matter. So always take the sign of the larger numeral. In this case it's negative, but they'll be the same. So that's just one rule that works for both situations. And then you take the sum. So you take the sign of the larger numeral, so the larger numeral is 3, so that's negative, and you take the sum of the numerals. What's the sum of 3 and 2? Well, the sum of 3 and 2, I add those. So my sign will be negative, and my sum of 3 and 2 is 5, so it's negative 5. Now if the signs are different, again, we always take the sign of the larger numeral. So my numeral here is 5, this numeral is 2, and this is just another way of writing it. So I take the sign of the larger numeral, which is negative, and since they're different, I take the difference of the numeral. So what's the difference between 5 and 2? Well, the difference between 5 and 2, or 2 and 5, is 3. In other words, you go from the larger minus the smaller. So the difference between 5 and 2 is 3, so it's going to be negative 3. Now, a nice way of remember this is same, sum, different, difference. So it might help you remember that. So if the signs are the same, always take the sign of the larger. That's easy. And if the signs are the same, you take the sum of the numerals. If the signs are different, you take the difference of the numerals. And that's how you get your sign number. Sign, numeral. Now when multiplying, it's real easy if the signs are the same. Multiplying or dividing, if the signs are the same, it will be positive, and if it's positive, we don't usually write anything. We understand that to be positive. And if the signs are different, it's negative. So positive 2 times negative 6, negative 6. Negative 2 times positive 3. So positive 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 2 times positive 3, well, negative times a positive is a negative, and 2 times 3 is 6. And the same thing in dividing, a negative 10 divided by 5, or a positive 10 divided by negative 5. The signs are different, so in each case I'm going to get a negative, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. If the signs are the same, a negative 10 divided by a negative 5, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, 10 over 2 is 5. So that's just a little bit on sign numbers, so that might help you when we're dealing with some of these equations, and we do have sign numbers being involved in the equations.